This video is intended as guidance for gas fitters installing the log set into Rinnai's Linear 800 FlameTech gas fire. A lot of the problems reported to us are the result of incorrect media installation, so it is important to follow these steps. This demonstration uses a double-sided fire to make it easier to see the back of the logs, but the media is shown being installed from the front of the fire with the pilot to the back of the right-hand burner. Before starting the installation, carefully unpack the entire log set. Inspect each part for damage and lay them out as shown in the installation guide, making sure that everything required has been supplied. Use the guide and the one-page sheet fixed to the fire for further information. These are specialty products and only Rinnai supplied media designed for this appliance can be used. Make sure the base panel is properly fixed in place and that the brass aeration sleeves are correctly fitted over the injectors, with the top of the sleeve slightly above the fire base. If the aeration sleeves feel loose or you have removed them at some point, check that the O-rings in the injector end are properly seated before refitting. Take the centre log and fit it into the valley in the middle of the base panel. There is a slot in the front of the panel that lines up with a notch in the end of the log. Place a layer of glass over the whole pattern in the base panel. Don't pour the glass out of the bag, as there will be dust that has settled in there and will make the installation look messy when finished. Avoid covering the area beyond the holes. You should only use about 80% of the glass for this part. If the layer of glass is too thick, the effectiveness of the lighting from below will be reduced. Fit the second log into the back left corner. The location of this log is less critical, but there is a hollow in the base panel for guidance. You might need to move some of the glass to get the log to sit flat. Identify the left and right hand FlameTech logs. The left log is slightly shorter than the right. Carefully inspect both logs. Check that the block and the copper sleeve on the base of the fire are firmly attached. Inspect the channel where the wire wool wraps around the burner. Look for chips or cracks in the channel. Look for any large cracks in the burner. The gas flows through the burner itself, and anything other than a small surface fissure could be a sign of damage. If the crack is big enough to see the inside edge of the crack, the log should not be installed. The wire wool should sit just inside the channel around the burner, with only the occasional strand of wool sticking out, and not so far back that you can see the sides of the channel. These logs have all been tested before leaving the factory, but if the wire wool is not correctly placed, you may need to adjust it later. Place the right-hand log in position. Fit the copper sleeve on the base of the burner over the aeration sleeve. The outer or right-hand end of the log should sit on the base panel with the other end resting on the top of the centre log. There should be a gap between the base panel and the block on the underside of the burner. When correctly installed, the log should sit with a gap of around 5 mm between the log and the long flame rod to the left of the pilot. Snip off any strands of wire wool sticking out around the flame rod. These are the most common source of installation problems. These strands can short out the flame rod and cause flame failure or pre-ignition flame rod failures. Place the left-hand log in position. The outer edge should sit on the base panel and the other end resting on the centre log. There should be a gap between the base panel and the burner block. When correctly positioned, the gap between the two FlameTech burners will be about 5 mm, with both burners sitting evenly on the centre log. Start the fire and check for complete ignition around both burners. If the burners don't cross-light, you may need to adjust the gap between them. If the fire starts and then goes out within a few seconds, it will almost certainly be a strand of wire wool touching the main burner flame rod. Make sure to run the burners on high and low flame settings to ensure the flame rod is working correctly. If the flames are a bit thin with no glow around the wire wool, it could be that the wool is jammed too tightly into the channel. Carefully tweeze the wool out of the channel in the affected areas. If the flames look like a row of candles with no flames burning around the rim of the log, it could be that the wire wool is sitting too far out of the channel. Carefully push the wool back into the channel where necessary. It may be necessary to adjust the position of the burners, or in some cases the flame rod, to get reliable operation. Take care of adjusting the flame rod. The rod does not need to be in the middle of the flame to detect its presence, but in fact works best on the edge of the flame. The burners may work differently with the glass on, so it is often helpful to briefly fit the glass and double check the operation. Once you are happy with the operation of the burners, it's time to dress the rest of the fire bed. Place the 3 remaining logs as shown. When fitting the back pilot log, take care not to dislodge the FlameTech burner or to put the log where it could compromise the operation of the pilot. If you can, connect to the Wi-Fi unit. You can use the Rinnai app to turn the LED lights under the burner bed on without the fire burning. This is helpful when finishing the media bed. Place any remaining glass pieces around the logs and try to cover any places where you can see directly through the base panel. This includes the middle log location slot. If installing a double-sided fire, check the media bed from both sides to make sure there are no places where you can directly see the lights from below the bed. Place the large black granules over the top of the glass. These granules are purely decorative and can be placed anywhere on the base panel as long as they don't block the pilot area. Sprinkle the vermiculite over and around the media bed to get the desired look. We recommend setting the fire up as per the installation instructions to give the most realistic and consistent look. Refit the glass and operate the fire for at least 10 minutes to make sure the burner is operating with nice even flames on high and low burner settings. The installation of the media is now complete.